And one of the problems with the industry is that high stress environment, what are you going to do as soon as you finish? Beer.
Yeah.
Beer. Or worse, drugs. or you might be taking drugs while you're on service to get you through.
Really?
I've seen plenty of that as well. When I was growing up as a young chef, you just saw it. I was just like, this is just normal to you guys. And they were like, yeah. Crazy. I saw...
You still can coke, just or speed or something, coke or speed?
Everything. I saw my first few weeks of work, I just saw everything. It was like coke, speed, weed. And I was just like, holy crap. And this is what I'm talking about being naive and having to grow up really quickly. I was suddenly into this adult world, you know what I mean? I was 15 years old and I was seeing things that I'd never seen before. And that's rife throughout the industry, and that's why Gordon Ramsay did his programme on it. And it was really interesting because he was swabbing like staff toilets, weren't he?
Oh, mate, it was mad.
Cocaine everywhere.
At his restaurants?
Really,
Yeah.
Because that's what...
At his restaurants?
Yeah.
That's what gets the chefs through these horrendously long shifts.
Yeah,
You know.
they had these like litmus sort of style tests, didn't they? They went through all the toilets and everything. It was and then the customers' toilets. It was fucking.
Oh, they're even worse.
Yeah,
They're worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's luckily something that I've never had to go there.
Right, it's a Legit podcast with myself, Tom Wickstead.
It's me, Andy Grant, and this week's guest is Dave Critchley.
Hiya.
How you doing?
I'm all good.
Thank you very much, mate, for taking your time out, a busy day, to spend some time with us. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
No, I'm honoured to be asked. Thanks very much for having me in.
One of the biggest Liverpool chefs now, mate, coming out these past 18 months, 2 years, you seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, last 2 years have been massive for me, really. And I'm just trying to make the most of it at the moment, to be honest.
It's great, mate. I've loved seeing it, mate.
Yeah, it's good to be out there. I mean, I've been on the scene for God knows how many years. I'm getting on now. Like, I've been doing this 20 odd years, 23 years. So it's nice now that, like, yeah, there is some recognition, there is plenty of attention, and it's not about me, but it's good that people are coming in the restaurant because they're seeing Twitter, they're seeing Facebook, Instagram, they're seeing TV. And that's brilliant for us at the moment.
Did you think it would take 23 years to?
I don't know.
So I wouldn't say like I don't want to use like you could. I don't know whether you're successful or you class yourself as successful, but you know that phrase I've said it a million times on this podcast. It takes 20 years to become an overnight success, and like, you know, did you think it would take as long as it's taken?
Yeah, it's interesting. I never wanted to be a chef. That was never in my plans. Went to college. University to do something completely different.
Is it illustration?
Illustration. You've done your research.
Yeah.
Illustration for children's publishing.
That was it. Yeah.
Which is I always thought I'd do art, graphics, something like that. But I was working in kitchens from the age of 15. So the notorious halfway house on Walton Road. That's where I kind of cut my teeth. That was an experience, I'll tell you. So,
like pot washing or...
we might get onto that later. That was a massive eye-opening experience to me as a 15-year-old kid from Childwall. Walking into an environment was like, holy cow, what the hell is this? Like,
in what sense?
It was a whole new way of life I hadn't seen. There was... And this is a bit mad. Sorry, Mum. There was drugs. There was just everything. It was madness and something that I hadn't been exposed to before. The language in the kitchen, and do you know what I mean? That whole side of life. I'd never seen that before. I was just a good kid from Childwall, 15 years old. Yeah, a bit naive probably. And I had to grow up quick in that kitchen, put it that way. So, so I never wanted to be a chef. But I was working in kitchens from 15 for a bit of money in my back pocket while I was in school. Then into college, carried on working there. Then into university, I was driving to Wales on a Sunday night. And then I'd have Monday to Friday in uni, drive back on a Friday night, Saturday and Sunday in work, back in Liverpool again.
Right, Jesus.
Which was mad, yeah, looking back now. That was mad.
And what were you doing in university?
So that was the illustration for children's publishing. So I did all my A-levels at school, one of them being art. Then I went off to college, Myrtle Street, Liverpool Community College, and did a art foundation course. Yeah, it's going back some time, that. And then off to university to do a degree in children's book illustration. And that's where I always thought I'd be, sitting there just drawing pictures.
What kind of made you then derail from
It's
that?
the draw of, like, it's hard to explain. It's the buzz of working in the kitchen. It's that, like, being part of that team and the excitement of it all. It's a full-on drug, like, working and getting the buzz off a Saturday night service. And yeah, it's hard to explain. But as soon as I came out of university, there was no jobs in my field for illustration. It was just like, oh yeah, by the way, I know you spent all this money.
There's no
But unless
job.
you're in the top like 2% in the country, there is nothing out there at all. And I was like, right, okay. And it's the same for a few of my friends who were on that course. They're not doing that now. They've just had to get whatever jobs they could. I think there's one or two of them have made it. So it was an easy choice for me. I was like, right, well, I'll just go full-time kitchens, and then didn't look back from there. But like, yeah, I loved working in kitchens at the time, so I used to love the thought of going back on a weekend and getting back in that kitchen again.
Really? Yeah, even at 15, yeah.
Yeah, maybe not so much at 15 when I was just washing dishes and
I was gonna say,
peeling
yeah.
potatoes and getting things thrown at me, but still wanted to learn. I was watching, I took in everything. Excuse me. I took in everything. I was watching every single chef in there, what they did. And it was, yeah, like a proper eye-opening experience. Like I said, I had to grow up fast in that kitchen because there was lads older than me in there. And the stuff that was going on, like I said, I'd never seen any of that before. So
It's a case of wanting then to, because I always think you can be inspired to be like something or to not be like something. Was it a kind of like, if one day I own my restaurant, I don't want it to be anything like this type thing?
yeah,
You know?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's always been in the back of my brain. Still at that time, it was just like, I'm not going to be like you lot. I'm going to be drawing pictures and making all this money off all these books. So yeah. Used to give me a bit of stick for that, but I was always like, yeah, I'll never be like you guys. And then, like, here I am, however many years down the line, I'm still working these hours, like sweating in the kitchen.
23. Is it 23 years later? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. What am I now? I'm 38 next. No, yeah, I'm 38 now. Yeah.
To be fair, mate, the amount of books, I've got a 7-month-old daughter, the amount of books we buy her,
Yeah.
fuck me, there must be some money in children's...
Well, that's what I thought at the time, yeah.
They're like a tenner each, aren't they, off Amazon?
Yeah,
Like them,
yeah,
and they're
at
just and they're just plain and simple, like...
Yeah, and I just thought you only need one big break. Like if you did the Gruffalo, for example, mate, you'd be made for life. Or Hungry Caterpillar, that guy, mate.
Oh,
It's just not even that good.
The Hungry Cat, yeah, I've got a
Probably
Hungry Cat.
the most read book, most read children's books, probably the Hungry Caterpillar.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll just knock out one of them. I'll be set for life. Quite end up
all
like
those
that.
royalties every year.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. when you left uni and you came back, then was there any like, I don't know if the word icons are, but you know, like chefs on TV? We all know the big ones now, but were there any back then that big chef TV shows that you'd looked up to, or it kind of drawed you in, or?
Do you know what's weird? No, because I was never that interested in that side of things at all. So, and even now, people are like, "Who's your idols? Who's this? Who's that?" And I'm like, I've never really been a fanboy into other chefs, and it's not because I don't respect what they've done. I mean, now I'm looking at the guys like, Jamie Oliver, not the greatest chef out there, but my word, he's done well. Like, he's the richest chef in the UK. Do you know what I mean? He's smashed it. So you've got to be looking at him thinking he's done well there. But at the time, I just wasn't bothered by anyone else. It was just like, right, I'm going to go and do chefing now. I'll just learn. Got me qualifications on the job. Didn't even watch the shows then, really. So I'd be in kitchens with other guys
This is
talking
mad
about
to think,
Masterchef and this and that, and I'd be like, not asked. Pass me the potatoes, I'll peel them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know, it's quite odd because I was never fascinated by that. That kind of came later. Do you know what I mean? The real love for it. So I almost fell in love with like the industry and being in the kitchen and being part of the team first and foremost. And then the kind of creative side came later with like all these ingredients I was learning. And so it was only like a little bit later, I suppose, as I grew up, I'd see like, I suppose some of the local chefs, Aidan Byrne was doing well at the time. He was local, so I thought, yeah, he's a good lad there. He's doing good for himself. Marcus Wareham was like Southport ways. My family are all from Southport. So I thought, yeah, again, local, northwest, doing okay. But I never really, even then, I never really obsessed
Bylights.
Not to the point I am now. I'm full on. It comes over years.
What, into obsessed is in like not obsessed with celebrity like foodies, but obviously obsessed with
just the game, the food, the passion, the like everything about it. I think you have to be. You've got to have a level of obsession, otherwise you wouldn't do it. It's not a nice industry to work in. I know that sounds a bit mad. It's not an easy life. It's a really hard life. You've got to give up everything. Your birthdays, forget about them, you're working. Christmas, you're working. Valentine's, you're working. Mother's Day, Father's Day, all them, if you think about it, that's when everyone goes out. That's when you go restaurants. So who's working? It's the chefs.
Yeah.
So you give up all of that. Partners' birthdays, special occasions. Because, that's just what you do. You sacrifice everything, absolutely everything there is to, succeed, I suppose.
Mate, it's a good segue because we spoke off camera, mentioned about the Gordon Ramsay documentary he did about cocaine or whatever, and one of his chefs jumped off a building, I think, off memory. And you said, the stress levels are just...
Through the roof. Mental, And not enough people talk about it because it's always looked down upon. Not looked down upon, it's very taboo, isn't it? And mental health, though, is starting to become more widely spoken about, which is great because it needs to be addressed. The highs and lows of working in this industry are insane, and people don't get it. And part of it has come from the TripAdvisor culture. I mean,
really,
you got to think there's a guy working his absolute balls off for 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. And then someone goes on and goes, the chicken wasn't very good. I'm going to write about it on a public forum. Do you know what I mean? For him to go and read. So after the end of his 90-hour week, he's going to read that. That's what he's going to read. How is that going to make you feel? It makes you feel horrible. Like, you feel bottom, just low. Do you know what I mean? So you can have this amazing night on a Saturday where everything's gone absolutely perfect. And you fired out food and it's amazing and you feel you're buzzing for hours. When you go home you can't sleep because it's been that good. The adrenaline's pumping around your body. You've probably had about 6 energy drinks and loads of coffee throughout the day and no food because you haven't had time. You just you're hammering it and you smash through and the adrenaline's pumping and 2 a.m. in the morning you're still thinking, going, what a boss shift, I love being a chef. And then the next day you come in and there's these TripAdvisor reviews and that's it. You just want to
pack it in.
Well, that's it. Where'd you get the motivation then to go again, to do all that?
You've just got to find it within you and go again. And I think we talked about, digging deep. There's also Saturdays where 3 members of staff haven't come in. Or you've just got to do their work as well. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to just find this inner strength to pull everyone through around you as well. Because they're going through exactly the same, do you know what I mean? And they're just going down and down as the pressure's piling up and the orders are coming in and their workload's increasing and the stress is going. You've got to rally them and get them fired up. And that's something that I've been good at, to be honest, over the years, is building a good team around me and then geeing them up when they need it. But you've just got to find this inner strength to go again the next day, even though those TripAdvisor reviews are there that you've read, and then you've got 3 members of staff that haven't come in the following day and the bookings are going up and one of your suppliers hasn't turned up, so half your stuff's missing.
Ugh.
Mate, like these last 4 weeks I'll say have been the toughest for this industry for many reasons, but it's so stressful.
Because of COVID?
Yes, because of COVID, indirectly as a consequence. So suppliers have been affected, so they haven't got enough drivers, so all our deliveries are late. Pickers, they haven't got pickers at their end, so half our deliveries missing. Everything that could have possibly gone wrong over 4 weeks has been put in front of us, and we've just had to smash through it. We've had staff that didn't want to come back from furlough because they're like, why would I want to go back to that now? I've had best part of a year off at home, seeing my family, seeing my kids, seeing my friends. I've been paid.
What are they playing the kind of I don't feel safe coming to work kind of card?
No,
or?
like luckily it's not our business. Our business is good. We kept in touch with everyone and they've all come back. But some people have decided they don't want to be in the game anymore. They're just like, I can go and be a postman or a driver or work in a Tesco because I can get paid better and I don't have to work these horrible hours. So
there is a big I did see something on the news with hospitality employment, like it's really hard at the moment to find people.
Yeah, it's never been as bad as this because this is what we're facing now. So we were already short on good, skilled staff. And then we've had Brexit, so now a lot of our European workers who we'd rely on, they made part of most of our teams, like 50% you'd say, would come from outside of the UK, and they've gone. So there you go, there's a big gap gone there, which I don't understand why anyone voted for Brexit, because now we've lost half of our workforce. Certainly no one in the game should have been voting for that, but, and then obviously you've got COVID as well, so we've got no students because they haven't come back to the cities. They're still back at home. And students would have made up a lot of your part-time. Do you know what I mean? It's how
waiters, waitresses,
hot washers, you know what I mean? So we've lost them as well. And then you've got the whole generation, let's say, of hospitality workers who are just like, I don't want to do it anymore. I've done it for too long. I don't want to work 90 hours a week. I don't want to be getting home at 2 a.m. in the morning. I can go and do something else. Do you know what I mean? So we've faced all them problems the last 4 weeks, but we pulled through and we got there, and we're doing really well at the moment. So yeah, touch wood, that continues.
Hey, on that one, I remember one Christmas we went for drinks in a pub. This was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I wasn't actually having my dinner out. It was at home, but the poor woman in the pub, chef, just didn't turn in, and she's like, I've got 50 orders or whatever today, and the chef's not turned in. And just and I think it's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day,
I felt so bad for this woman.
Yeah.
This poor one. It was only like a
Probably
little
not
pub.
the first time I've heard that, yeah.
It was just a little pub, and I just thought, oh man,
I should be a business owner.
yeah.
And without the chef, she's absolutely
fucked.
She was calling in favours from other pubs, and everyone just rallied round her. And I mean, I don't know what happened. I only had a couple of drinks there, but I felt so terrible. And they're problems that you're facing, but at special times of the year.
Oh yeah, always, yeah. Well, you're facing them every single day. You know that, okay, one person doesn't come in today, it's going to get hairy.
Yeah.
But you know what's mad? It's like, it's drilled into chefs especially, you don't take a day off, you never have a day off sick. So,
but again, that's not good for the mental health side of things.
It's not
again,
good at all, no. And the pressure on you to get yourself in. So if you've got a cold, you're going to work. In fact, if you've got anything wrong with you at all, you're going to work. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I must have gone, I don't know how many years I went without ever taking a day off work, because that was drilled in from an early age, until the point where I got this is a cool story, not quite on your level, but I had to stop. My leg basically collapsed, like the veins inside just burst, because I'd spent so much time on my feet. I was in agony, like working in a restaurant, like chewing down painkillers just to like keep going, tears streaming down my face, working on the pass, just firing food out. People are like, Dave, you need to fucking go home. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I can't. Like, the team, do you know what I mean? We haven't got enough people here to do this. It will just fall apart. Doctors are telling me, saying, you can't work in kitchens again. And I was just like, I don't know anything different by this point, so what am I going to do? So I've had 2 surgeries on one leg now, and that's over the space of 20 years. Yeah, twice I've had surgery to just patch me up, get me back on again, go again.
What was wrong with your leg?
Basically, varicose veins that just collapsed inside my leg, because you're on your feet 12, 14 hours a day, and you're doing that 6 days a week or 7 days a week if someone hasn't called in. So you can rack up 21 days quite easily if you're short staffed.
I guess that pressure as well, like you said before, a bad review or something, they might never come back, and it's then they tell their friends, or it wouldn't go there, and then before you know it, one bad day in the office for you or for your team, you don't know the impact it has, do you?
Exactly. You reckon one person tells 10 people about their experience. But the bad thing is, if you have a good meal, you're less likely to tell everyone about it. Do you know what I mean? So a bad review is worth 10 times more than a good review, if that makes sense. Because that will find its way to 10 times more people than the good review will. So,
well, mate, not that I've ever complained. I genuinely have never complained, but I would definitely never complain anyway. On top of when I was on Celebrity Masterchef.
Yeah.
And mate, my experience of working in a kitchen, oh my God, like I said, I'd never even complain. Even if I had a bad meal, I wouldn't complain. But after seeing what it's like in a kitchen, how anyone has the audacity to kick off.
No, exactly.
Knowing what it's like.
What was the name of the restaurant? You in that like
the Coal Shed?
The Coal Shed
in London. Oh my god, the pressure of when they're coming in. Right, you got 5 of them to go. You're like, fucking hell, 5. Oh.
I've only done 1 before,
and you're trying to make it like perfect, and then by the time you've done the 5th one, it's getting cold, and he's going, right, come on, we need that one plating up, go, and you're like, fuck. You're sweating. There's people there going, have you done that yet? And I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. And then there's another one coming, and you're like, I come out of there and was like, if I hear anyone complaining, I'm gonna fucking punch them.
I'm gonna have a go. Yeah. That's what it's like, and that's what it's like every few minutes for 12 hours.
But I think people should almost experience that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just so they understand.
If more people saw, you'd probably get a lot less people actually complaining about it. So I
100%.
I even said to you guys beforehand, every interview I've ever done has always been positive about the industry, positive about people around me, positive about the teams, because that's who I am. I'm a positive person, and I want to make sure my team feel positive and they feel good. But more people need to know a little bit about just how hard it is, because I don't think people do. There's like, I'll go in, and there's a minute's worth of like quiet before I go into the kitchen or go into the changing rooms, and I'm just putting my whites on, and it very much feels like that's the armour going on. We're ready for war, like, do you know what I mean? And you physically are getting yourself ready. And if you know it's going to be a really tough day, like Saturdays, for example, even now, every restaurant I've worked at, Saturdays, that's your big one. That is literally non-stop. You know it is. Yeah, you're getting battered from start
from literally lunchtime till...
Yeah. So, and even now at Luban, which is a fantastic restaurant if you're not been, by the way.
Well, mate, plug all you want, yeah.
But even now I know Saturday is full from start to finish. It is just go. So there's just this quiet moment. And I've actually asked, I've got a guy create a bit of content for me, and we're going to do the video. And I just wanted people to see that minute, because that's where you're just getting your head together and you're kind of thinking about what's coming up, and it's just quiet. It's really quiet, and it's weird. It's a bit weird. And you're just putting your whites on and everything's there, and you tie up your apron goes on, and then literally out of that door, and there's just this world of noise, you know what I mean? Pans, chefs, people speaking to each other, whatever else, and it's crazy, and it's bam, you're in it, you're in, and then the adrenaline just goes whack, takes over. Coffee, energy drink, away you go, do you know what I mean? And then it's 13 hours later, 14 hours later, when it all kind of calms down again, because it's just full on. It's go.
Yeah.
And everything has to be perfect, and everything's got to be quick and fast, and it's just, I love it.
That fast thing as well, and like how you time it so it's still like blows my mind. That
it comes with practice, obviously, and you need a good team around you. Do you know what I mean? And my job on the pass, I don't cook anymore. I stand at the pass and I direct everything. So I've got to have a good team around me that I can trust to cook everything right, correctly, how I want it cooked. And my job is to direct everyone. Everyone needs to know what is going on, even amongst all this madness. The ticket machine's just going with all these orders coming on. Every chef knows it, that noise. Every chef dreams it when they go home. Do you know what I mean? They're trying to sleep, all you can hear. And if you've got a big shift coming up, that's all you hear in your brain. And it's just like the chefs printing food. And so it's my job just to get everyone in the zone all the time, and it's hard because it's 12 hours. Imagine, I try and compare it to like a sportsman who goes out for an hour and a half or whatever, footy player. You're in the zone for 90 minutes. Okay, stay in the zone for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And still burn many, many more calories than that.
Have you ever, bit of a dark question, but have you ever seen like someone have like a breakdown and just been like, I can't?
Yeah, I've seen a few. I've had my arm around many a chef who's just been floods of tears. Like, you say full grown man, doesn't matter. Man, woman, doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? They're broke, they're done, they're drained, they've got nothing left to give you. Do you know what I mean? And they're trying, but there's nothing left there. Or what's worse, if there's something going on at home and they can't shake it. Do you know what I mean? Or a death in the family, or whatever it is, there's something going on. You're always taught to leave it at the door. You don't bring it to work. But it's impossible just to switch off. You can't just do that. We're human beings, do you know what I mean? So, I've many broken chefs, do you know what I mean? So, see it all the time.
That's what I think the big thing is about that. Sometimes people will maybe assume that, I just use my example of what I went through in the Marines, but I sometimes say to people, that's not the hard bits, everyday life, you know, the problems that we all go through.
Yeah.
Like you say, debts in the family, you know, money problems, family problems, all those things we've all got. It's when then you're added to, like you say, a highly pressured situation.
Yeah.
Where you're tired,
it explodes.
knackered.
Yeah. And there's constantly like aggression. It just comes out, you know what I mean? Because you've got all these people in a room working quick, fast, under that pressure. Something's going to give at some point. So we've been in the middle of many fights as well.
I guess it's hard to know as well.
Normally it blows up and calms down again. And normally, I've been stood in the middle of like big guys before, thinking, I hope to God they've got enough respect that they don't hit me on the way through here. And I just had to put myself in the middle. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Go on. There's knives and everything, and you just like, oh. And luckily, up until this day, like, they have had enough respect for me to just calm down, back down, listen to what I've said. But like that's.
But I guess it's hard as well to know when, if you're went to be stern but not aggressive, but it's hard to like, I need it now, to be like, who the fuck is all? You know what I mean?
And that's I don't know. I've got respect for everyone who works in my team, and they know that, hopefully. No, they know that. I've got a lot of time for them, and I won't be I will not be aggressive with them. They know when I need things and why I need them, do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be, I'm never horrible to them, and my style of management is 90% of the time, I'm more of a Jurgen Klopp, let's say, do you know what I mean? Arms around them, come on, we're doing this. This is one team, this is our team, we're doing it. And I'll show them I'm willing to work twice as hard as them. I've always done that. I've always, from the age of 15, when I was that KP in the kitchen, I wanted to show everyone around me, them 18-year-olds, them 20-year-olds, them 30-year-olds, I can work as hard as them. I can stand there toe-to-toe and work as hard as them, work them hours. I still do it now. I'll work all the hours, and I'll put my arm around them and say, look, I'm doing it with you. You're on your own, I'm here with you, we're doing it together. So yeah, I'm never, what I'd like to think, I'm never screaming and shouting at anyone, because I don't think that gets the best out of them at all. Do you know what I mean? Not in that environment. Not when anything can just blow up at the moment. Sorry, didn't need to use that expression.
I wonder, it must work for like the likes of, I know, the Gordon Ramsay, and do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I know I've worked in kitchens like that.
I'm on your side. I think that's the best way to go about
I've worked in kitchens like that as well, where like you've got this nutter, this psychopath on the pass, like throwing things and screaming for things.
Really?
And it's like, yeah, okay, you're gonna get your food because everyone's like scared of having a pan thrown at them, or do you know what I mean, scolded with something or whatever. That happens, you know what I mean? More so in the olden days, like there's, I mean, in London,
like bullying.
Yeah, 100% bullying. Yeah, that happens. I mean, luckily in this city, I've not seen that. I think this city's different. Scousers won't put up with it. They'll just be like, fuck yourself, I'm going home. I'm not going to take that off you, do you know what I mean? But in the big places, your Michelin star places, down in London, this is still rife, because I've sent lads down to go and get experience in Michelin star places, and they come back saying, I'm never going back there again. In fact, I've sent really good chefs down to these places, and they leave the industry straight away.
Really?
And they're just like, I'm not doing that. I'm never putting myself through that again. And I'm just like, so it's horrible.
That's madness.
That side needs a complete update, a revamp, because I just don't think it's necessary at all. If you guys can't deliver what you want them to deliver, you either rethink the staff and get new staff in who can, or B, you change your menu. Do you know what I mean? I know that sounds a bit crazy, but you've got to work with what you've got. So make it slightly easier for them. Don't make them work 100 hours a week and then be screaming and shouting at them. Just make it that little bit easier for them. So that's my philosophy anyway.
Of course, and
hopefully that's we've got a nice kitchen. I've got the same team that I opened up with in 2019, which is pretty unheard of in this industry. It's because chefs just like, they move on to other things. 50p more there, I'm going to go and take that. A bit mercenaries, to be fair. So, and I get why that is, but I like to think we've got a loyal staff now, and that's because we've spent the time working out who these guys are and spending some time with them, and hopefully that's repaid.
Mate, with your role then, to kind of bring it back to you and your career and speak about what you're doing now, but so with your role, How has, I mean, are you at the kind of, what's the title called again, what you do now as in the role?
So I'm executive head chef.
Sorry, but in the kitchen, it's called,
Yeah.
what do you call it, as in, you're standing back, you said something?
Oh yeah, I run in the pass. So
The pass, that's it, sorry, the pass.
Yeah.
What are then the difference? Is that like you want to be at the pass, like that's the kind of top dog in the kitchen?
Yeah, you're running the team. Like the team are around you. Do you know what I mean? You're the point man. You're the number one guy. And then, that's generally because you're good. Got good people skills. Is that where you want to be? Maybe. I mean, I know chefs that just want to carry on cooking, so they'll love doing the meat and fish because they love doing that. They love like physically, and they've got no interest in going on to the pass. But yeah, I've run the pass from a young age. Actually, I took my first head chef job at 23 years old, which again back then was pretty unheard of. And I was running a team of 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds. So again, I had to prove that this young kid could do it. Do you know what I mean? And that nearly killed me. I'm not going to lie, because I did about 9 months without a day off.
Jesus.
Because I was proving myself, and it was my kitchen, it was my first kitchen, so I put some silly hours in there. Not that I've learnt my lesson, I still do that now. So
Did you, like, I presume you didn't have a social life, or that completely went out the window? No girlfriends, no...
Yeah, no, you have girlfriends, but they don't last because you're never there, do you know what I mean? And yeah, lots of relationships just break down because you're not there, you're never there, so it's just like, what's the point of going out with you? You make me one meal every like blue moon when you're actually at home.
Yeah, so but it's a cracking meal.
It's a belting meal, don't get me wrong, but it is once every blue moon. And I mean, so luckily I've got our wife now who gets it, but it's still tough, it's really tough. You go through serious tough times, and I've got a 6-year-old lad, and again, there's things that you miss that you don't want to miss, but you just, okay, I can be there, but I'm going to be late. Or parents evening where you literally like throw everything, leg it, jump in the car, hammer it at home as fast as you can, like, I don't know, 60, 70 mile an hour. Sorry guys. You got to get there on time, do you know what I mean? You get there late and the wife's looking at you like... And then it's like, right, finish parents' evening, leg it back in the car, belt it all the way back into town again, get ready again for service. It's like, it's hard to balance it all, so I can understand why. And you're going back to social life. Now, the industry is rife with alcoholics and drug taking because the social life begins at 12 a.m. When you finish service, that's when your social life, that's when your time comes in. Your downtime is then between then and your next shift, which could be at 9 a.m. Do you know what I mean? So, and these people around you are your friends. You don't have anyone else because you don't see anyone else. So you've suddenly got this weird group of mercenary pirates, I like to call them. I love them, but but in the game, it's just, they could be, you know what I mean, Bob from Bootle, or this person from Czechoslovakia, and that guy from Poland, and do you know what I mean, Fernando over there from Spain, and and it's just a mad mix of people that would never normally be in the same social circle, but there you go, that's your friends now, that's your family. And because you're working 12, 14 hours a day with them, 6-7 days a week.
6-7 days,
like, you know them. You don't know them, but you know them, if you know what I mean. So, and one of the problems with the industry is that high stress environment, what are you going to do as soon as you finish? Beer.
Yeah.
Beer. Or worse, drugs. or you might be taking drugs while you're on service to get you through.
Really?
I've seen plenty of that as well. When I was growing up as a young chef, you just saw it. I was just like, this is just normal to you guys. And they were like, yeah. Crazy. I saw...
You still can coke, just or speed or something, coke or speed?
Everything. I saw my first few weeks of work, I just saw everything. It was like coke, speed, weed, and I was just like, holy crap. And this is what I'm talking about being naive and having to grow up really quickly. I was suddenly into this adult world, you know what I mean? I was 15 years old and I was seeing things that I'd never seen before, and that's rife throughout the industry, and that's why Gordon Ramsay did his programme on it, and it was really interesting because he was swabbing like staff toilets, weren't he?
Oh mate, it was mad.
Cocaine everywhere.
At his restaurants?
Yeah. Because that's what...
At his restaurants?
Yeah.
That's what gets the chefs through these horrendously long shifts.
Yeah,
you know.
They had these like litmus sort of style tests, didn't they? They went through all the toilets and everything. It was and then the customers' toilets. It was fucking.
Oh, they're even worse.
Yeah.
They're worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's luckily something that I've never had to go there. I've never, and I'm quite anti-drugs. I was doing, I mean, I smoked a bit of weed back then, do you know what I mean? Because that's what everyone did. You finish your shift and you go and have one of them, and that was it. But even then, I was like, oh no, that's not for me. That's not for
I
me,
used to
really.
get called Frank, you know that advert, Talk to Frank? It was like, because I didn't ever touch drugs, all my mates used to call me Frank.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I remember them.
I Talk to Frank.
They should have, I mean, Talk for Frank should have been just about chefs, mate, because, from what I saw from those early years, was like, oh my God.
That's mad, isn't it?
So I know, there's a lot of chefs who've got alcohol problems, a lot of them have drugs problems, and luckily, like, I'm really grateful I've never been afflicted by either of them. I've never been addicted to anything like that. I'm probably addicted to coffee. I'd say that's my my vice. That's what I need. And see, I drink far too many energy drinks for my own liking because they're not good for you at all.
No.
But
I hate them when I only drink them when driving and on the motorway, long drive or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you get in, you're fucking wired.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can't.
Especially in the like 5 a.m. You're like,
They don't touch the sides for us chefs anymore, unfortunately. So I can understand why people are taking more, because when you wake up in the morning and you've done like 3 really long shifts, you pour in your coffee in the morning and you're just like, there needs to be something stronger than coffee. That is legal, by the way.
yeah.
Because you're just like, this coffee's going to do nothing. So I'll probably drink 3 coffees before I get out the door in the morning. So get up, because I've got my little lad now, so I'll get up, get him ready for school. If I'm taking him to school that day, get him off, but get home quick, and then a couple of coffees in the car and off we go. You just need it. Like, there's sometimes you wake up and you just feel like The Walking Dead, but you've got to go again. And going back to what you said, now you've got to build that energy on the drive to work. You're just building yourself up. In-demand radio, I just crank that up. On it goes. Stick it on, tunes, bang, 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 from 9 a.m, tunes are on, getting me fired up, ready for it, into the kitchen, tunes are on in the kitchen, because it gets the guys G'd up as well, so they're like fired up as much as they can be. Coffees for everyone, energy drink, and then service starts, and that's it, you're away again. So
yeah, mate, I honestly, mate, just to go back to my little stint in it, like it's so, I can see why, as hard as it is, I can see why that's like that is the addiction, I guess.
You've got to love it. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because it is like it starts off, I was like, oh God, this is exciting. That machine goes, and I'm like, oh right, done that first one, and then like you're like, right, I'll try and do the second one, and it can become a buzz, and obviously if you're good at it, it's a better buzz. But for me, because very quickly it become overpowered, I was like, fuck, oh God, then it becomes
too much, and then you get the sick feeling. I mean, I still get that. There was places I've worked at and you just got this sick feeling when you're walking through the door, because you know how tough it's going to be, and occasionally I'll still get it. It's just like a little flutters in your stomach as you're going into a Saturday. It's only ever a Saturday, everything else is fine, everything else is just, I worked in a place in Manchester, Australasia, and it is crazy busy. I mean, you're talking
that place must make some money as well, Australasia.
Yeah, it was good. It's
a cracking restaurant as well, isn't it? 800
people you can do on a Saturday in that place, and you'd be walking in, because my brigade there was running a team of 30 chefs in the kitchen, chefs and KPs, and you knew someone would always be off on a Saturday. It was just written in law. You will have at least 2 people off on a Saturday. You know that's going to happen. So
what you're saying about those teams though, does that not create cracks in the teams? Like, you've let us down there last Saturday, what the fuck?
It does, but and that's why that philosophy, if you've either got the chef philosophy of, I'm never going to be off, I'm never going to let the side down, or you haven't and you don't really care. But most of it is like, that guy did let us down, but I'm glad he's here today, because I'll be in the shit again today if he wasn't. So it's almost like it's quickly forgotten, although never ever properly forgotten. It's always like, he'll let me down again.
As soon as an argument starts,
you let me down 3 weeks ago. So and it's if you're running the kitchen, it's your job to paste over the cracks, do you know what I mean? To make sure there isn't cracks. Yes, he's off, but he'll be back in tomorrow, don't worry about it, it's going to be fine. And here's Lucas from Poland, he's turned up for the trial, and we need him, so get him in, get him trained quick. What
was it like Australasia? I've been a few times at a cracking restaurant, isn't it?
Again, I loved it. So I'd done however many years in Liverpool, I'm trying to work my way back here, so I started in the halfway house. I took my first proper chef's job sorry, halfway house, but that was a pub carvery, do you know what I mean? And I cut my teeth there and I learned the basics and saw some crazy stuff. And then I went with one of the head chefs from there, said, I've got a job for you, and this is when I've come out of university. So when I finished university, he said, I've got a job for you, do you want it? And at the time I was like, yeah, definitely, I need some money. And it was a good salary. It was, I can't remember what it was now, but it seemed good at the time for a kid my age. It was like a proper, oh, bloody hell, yeah, I can buy some trainers and buy whatever I want. I had a car then as well, so... and that was in Maghull. That was in a pub out in Maghull, but I was the, by proxy I was the sous chef, but really there was only 2 chefs, so there was the head chef and then there was me, so I was the sous chef. I was like, yeah, first job, sous chef, smashed it. And then where did I go from there? Neighbourhood cafe in Childwall.
Oh, I like that there, mate, yeah.
Which is really nice.
Really nice, yeah.
Adrian, the owner, went in there and I was a chef in there for him. And
bit of a jaunt for like the footy players now, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really cool as well, really nice. Food was something different I'd never experienced before, so it was really cool. Worked in there for about 2 years and then I felt it was time to move on, so I went down to Lark Lane, 52 it was called at the time. It's been all kinds since. But I went, I think it's Love and Rockets at the moment. I was in that site and I went in as like junior sous chef. And then the head chef left, and so it was basically, do you want the job? Do you want to be the head chef? That 23-year-old cocky me was like, yeah, I'm going to smash this. 9 months later I was about 3 stone like that, going, I haven't had a day off, I haven't seen anyone for 9 months, but I learned a lot there just from like running a place. And and then I went to Alma de Cuba, which at the time was the restaurant. Back then, that was a really good restaurant. And they were like, come in, take a step back, be junior sous chef again, learn your way up. And I did that, and I took it all in and learned, and I went up to like sous chef and then head chef, and then I was head chef at Alma for a while, and then he opened up a few other places. So if you remember Noble House on Castle Street, that was only there a couple of years, but I took over that. I was the head chef there. Then I went into like this operations role where I was looking after 3 restaurants, which was interesting because it took me out of the kitchen. It wasn't my kitchen anymore. There was a head chef in the kitchen, and although I was his boss, it didn't feel right. I liked being in the kitchen and I liked running my team, do you know what I mean? So I was running 3 or 4 restaurants, and although that was a great experience for me again, it was.
And then
I missed the kitchen.
Operationally wise, like what are you doing operationally wise then compared to?
In that role, you're basically going in, making sure everything's right. So you're basically checking up on the head chef that he's doing his job. But if he's short, you can jump in and give him a quick hand, or make sure he's got what he needs, or she's got what she needs. So you're support for all those head chefs, but at the same time, they all have to report to you. If anything's gone wrong, they let you know about it. So if something breaks, they're on the phone to me. If they're working and busy, I can call someone. I've got a few minutes. But then I'll be working my way around, and so a few days I'll spend here making sure the food's nice. It's right. It's what we said we'd do, and then I'd move on to the next site, spend a few days there.
And is it the head chef's responsibility to organise the menu themselves, speak with suppliers, that sort of thing, and then? Yeah,
well, if they've got an ops guy like me, I would be involved with that process, and we'd be like saying, I want to use this veg guy, and we're going to use it across the whole group.
Right, yeah.
It just keeps everything nice and tidy. And then menu development we'd do together. So, I mean, that was good role there. I was with that company for 7 years, Alma de Cuba. Different company now, but and then I was like itching for some kind of accolades then, I suppose, because I was like, right, I've done this quite a while now. Where do I go next? Messaged Paul Askew, and I just said, chef, like, is there anything out there that for me, do you know what I mean? And he said, funny you should say that, come down to the Carriage Works. So I went and spoke to Paul, and he was looking at opening the art school. So obviously he's been at Carriage Works for 10 years, and he's like, I need someone to take over here. So he interviewed for that job, and this is interesting, so not many people know this. So I applied for the head chef job at London Carriage Works, and I got the job, but it was only during the interview I realised there was a hotel attached to it, Hope Street Hotel. I just never put the two together. So it was only halfway through the interview when they were like, so you're going to be okay with all the football team stays, conferences, banquets in, all the weddings, and I'm sitting there going, in my head, I'm going, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, of course, yeah, do you know what I mean? Obviously, do you know what I mean? I've ran 5 restaurants, I mean, how bad can it be? Anyway, I took over from Paul, and it was amazing, an amazing 4 years. Got 2 rosettes there. Paul had made the place, and so it was big shoes to fill. He's been there for 10 years, so I came in, and I'd like to think I made a positive difference, and I made it. I kept the standards high, got my rosettes, so won awards. That's what I was after. Do you know what I mean? So I've got 2 rosettes, and we kept them there for the 4 years I was there. And then I kind of thought again, I got to this point where I was like, where do I go now? In Liverpool, there was nowhere else to go. Once you've done Carriage Works, at the time, for me, I was like, there's nowhere else to go. That's the pinnacle, that's the jewel in the crown for me as a Liverpool chef. So that's when I went out to Manchester, because I spoke to the guys at Living Ventures, and I said, listen, I'm after a new challenge. And by hell, that was a challenge.
Was it?
Yeah, oh yeah. So I just went into a restaurant that was 4 times the size, anything that I'd worked in before. I thought Alma de Cuba was busy. And then you go to Australasia, and actually I was running Australasia, and I was again into this operations role that I'd done previously. Australasia, Artisan, which was gigantic. You had Manchester House, which Aidan Byrne had at the time, and then underneath was Artisan, which was just this gigantic space. And I was like, how many people can we fit in here at once? And they were like, like 400. I was just like, oh my god, 400 people at once, which means how many can we do throughout the course of a day? Like 1,600 people.
Jesus.
Like,
so when you walk down those steps into Australasia, the back bit that's where you were at that back.
At the back's the kitchen.
Yeah, because it's open, isn't it?
Yeah,
and you can see.
Plan, so you can walk past when you go in the toilet. You see into the kitchen. And it's just like a hive of activity, because you've got, like I said, there's 30 chefs on the rota, so you probably have 20 odd working at once on a Saturday. So yeah, I did Artisan for a while, briefly, just to kind of bring me up to speed and get me used to it, because Australasia was their jewel in the crown. Effectively, that was their number 1 unit. And I went there and had another 2 years there as exec for them, and it was brilliant. Absolutely loved it. There's more Scousers in Australasia than anyone else. when I'd walk around, you'd hear all these Scouse accents. I was like, all right, lads, yeah, oh, you all right? They'd go, oh, you're a Scouser? And I was like, yeah, we found Scousers everywhere, don't we? Although Manchester's not far, but everyone used to go out to Australasia for the night out, so it was great. And then I got a phone call from these guys, Luban. And they were like, we're opening a Chinese restaurant. And I was like, okay, why are you calling me? Do you know what I mean?
What was that like though, mate? The fact that you've now, people are your name's going about, you've got the rosettes, and you've proved it in Liverpool, you're in Manchester, now you're getting phone calls. I mean, that must give you a real buzz. Yeah,
it does, but it kind of vindicates everything I've done over the last 20 years. My CV's immaculate. I've never caused a problem anywhere. I've always fixed problems. I've always been a good team player. I've always worked my absolute socks off every place I've ever been to, and I think I've always got that from my mum and dad. They worked their arses off for me. Made sure we had what we needed, always, the kids. And that's always something I've took on. So when people ask me who my heroes are, so it's my parents. So I've always took their work ethic on. My dad was just working all the time, and then my mum had a job, gave up her teaching career for the kids, so she'd look after us, and my dad would work. He had the local news agents next door to Halfway House, actually. So we had McNaughton's, and that was his job, and he ran that place. But he's the same, like if anyone called in sick, my dad would go and work it. He had to, it was his business, and he had that business for 30 years. He's retired now, but so that was my work ethic. So I've always worked as hard as I possibly could, and partially selfishly, I wanted everyone around to see I'm the hardest worker in here, I'm the hardest worker in the kitchen. So when I was building a career, I always made sure I'd go that extra step. Do you know what I mean? I'd work that extra half an hour to make sure everything was spotless for the head chef or for whoever it was. So yeah, to get the phone calls is nice, because you're like, okay, you have done something right. Do you know what I mean? I've always kept my nose clean, never got any trouble, never done anything wrong. Always been as professional as I possibly can be, because it's everything to me, my career, absolutely everything. Like I said, you've got to be obsessed with it, or every aspect of it, like putting that carrot on the plate to making sure all your paperwork and your figures are all filled out. You've got to be obsessed, otherwise it doesn't work. You fall out of love with it. Yeah, so we got the phone call and they were like, we're opening a Chinese restaurant, and I went, oh, you got the wrong guy, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know what you want me, and they were like, no, listen, here is out. And I was like, okay. And as they're telling me about this project, I was like, this is the best thing ever. I was like, A, you want me to come back to Liverpool, which is 100% what I want to do now. I've worked for a few years in Manchester, and it's all right, but it's a bit grey and sad. Do you know what I mean? It's very industrial, and it's just very, like, yeah, I don't know. It's very corporate, and and it's not my home. My home's Liverpool. In Manchester, no one cared who I was, didn't matter. Do you know what I mean? So to come back to Liverpool and be around everyone that I know, and everyone who kind of knows me, is a bit more reassuring and nice to come back home again. And it was like, so I'm opening my own restaurant. It's Chinese, but with a difference. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And it was like, we want to fly you out to China first and foremost. So I was like, fucking pass me that. They're like, you go out to China, you're going to spend some time with the Masterchefs out there. These are like the top of their game. Not like, these are 40, 50 years of chefing at the highest level, and now they're like the most respected in this region of China. You're going to go and spend some time with them. You're going to eat at some of the most incredible restaurants you've ever seen in your life and just get a feel for what we're after. And it was amazing. Like, China was just mind-blowing. I've never been to China, so I've been out.
Whereabouts in China did you go?
Tianjin. So it's a big port city. Sound familiar? In just underneath Beijing. So everything that's going into Beijing comes through Tianjin. It's a big port city, this massive dock, this river that splits the city in half as well. It's uncanny, like, when you think about it. It's mad, the similarities between Liverpool and Tianjin. The architecture is very similar as well, because a lot of the trade that would have been happening between Liverpool and Tianjin and the rest of Europe as well. So these amazing European influences there. And it was just incredible. I can't wait to get back out there.
Was there a guy, correct me if I'm wrong on this guy's name, but was there a guy called like Master Wu or something? Like, is that the guy? Have I got that right?
Yeah. Master Wu, well done.
Master Wu.
Sounds like something from Lego Ninjago.
Isn't he like he's the top don?
He's the big chief. Like, yeah, he's the big cheese.
What job interview when you go to, right, if you take this job, I'm going to fly here and see the best fella in the world.
Well, exactly.
And, you want to learn from him.
Because you always hear, like, you go to restaurants and it's always, oh yeah, we're going to send you here and you can have a look at this, and it never happens because you're always in the shift for staff, so you never get out, and it just never comes through. But these guys were like, no, you have to, as part of, before we even open a restaurant, you've got to get out to China. You need to see it, experience it, otherwise you won't get it. It's like, we can tell you about the dishes, but unless you see them,
of course,
you just won't get it at all. So
were you cooking in obviously you were cooking over there? And
briefly, yeah, for the first couple of days I was in the college where Master Wu is like the head honcho at the college, and he's taught like hundreds of thousands of students over the years. And it was funny because every restaurant we went to were his like proteges, basically people who trained up under him. So they all came flocking out every time he appeared. He was like a celeb, do you know what I mean? So he was the celeb, the big boss. And then obviously there was like, two white guys, which was, behind him. So they flocked to us as well, because it was like, look, white guy. Which was brilliant. But yeah, they treated us like absolute royalty out there. Like, there was nothing that they could have done more for us. It was like, literally felt like a king out there. Because I think we were with Master Wu, who was like, big cheese. Like,
did Master Wu find you then?
Well, I got sent to Master Wu as part of this project, do you know what I mean? And then me and Master Wu just clicked. That's a bit mad, I don't know. They're very similar to us in this region of China. So they like to take the piss, they like to have a drink, they like to have a party. They really like don't take themselves too seriously, which was brilliant. Which just meant that even though there was this massive language barrier, I've taken Mandarin lessons now, by the way, but at the time I was just like, what is going on? But we had a translator, and I was using like iTranslate or something like that to try and find some common ground. But we just talked to each other quite well, and like, he got me drunk every night, so do you know what I mean? Top guy.
So how long did you get out there for?
It was about 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks. And the whole idea was I'd fly out every 6 months. Fly out every 6 months, carry on training, and then we'd do training virtually as well on TV screens. And obviously COVID kind of kicked us right in the pants, as it were, because that was our first year of trade. Opened up in November 2019. I was in China in August. In November 2019, we opened the restaurant when it was made, when it was finished. And then by March, we were closed. And that's, that's like the next chapter. The COVID chapter is a whole different chapter in my story, because, as you know, I didn't stop. I went a bit. I didn't go mad, but like I put a lot of work in, so we'll get to that now. But yeah, Master Wu's like, there's Master Chefs, and then there's like Grand Master Chefs, and Master Wu's like right up there. So there's probably, I don't know, 12 chefs in China at this top level. Master Wu's one of them, so it's just like mad.
Is that comparable to, like, if you say Michelin chef? Is that pretty much like on the similar sort of like?
Yeah, well, it's like if you had a Michelin, let's say a 3 Michelin star chef like Gordon Ramsay. Let's put some context on it. So he's Gordon Ramsay, but he is in charge of all the other chefs in the country that are coming through. So
Jesus.
It'd be Gordon Ramsay, but unless you've been certified by Gordon Ramsay, you're a nobody. So if Master Wu certifies you and says, yeah, legit, good chef, then you can become a master chef. So. And he's taught all these like thousands of chefs who've gone on to become like amazing chefs in China. But yeah, Master Wu's just like next level. And then when we got back, opened up the restaurant, and after a month we had this letter, and it was like, Master Wu wants me to become his final apprentice. And I was just like, what does that even mean? Like, and basically, if I suppose again, Karate Kid, you've got Daniel's son. You know what I mean? It's like that. He becomes the apprentice to the master, and the master trains him everything. But to become the final apprentice is this big honour over there. So basically, he's going to teach me, and that's him, done, retired. And then he'll send everything to me, all his equipment, his knives, all his recipe books. They come to me as the final apprentice.
No.
And I'm like, fucking hell, I was just some lad from Childwall, and now I'm like apprentice and final apprentice, because that's quite important. It's like really significant. I'm his final apprentice to one of the top chefs in the world. Like, do you know what I mean? In his field, there's like no one anywhere near him. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, this is quite surreal. So
you have to put master before your first name, won't you?
I will once I complete my course, yeah. Because now we think I'm the world's first Western apprentice to a Chinese master chef there's ever been. And then when I complete my course, which we think will take two and a bit years, I'll be the world's first Western Chinese master chef, if that makes sense.
That is insane, isn't it?
Which is just madness.
That's incredible, mate.
And part of that was because when I was over there, I don't know how many chefs after 23 years would go to a different country and then just say, right, forget everything I've learned before. I don't care about that. Show me, do you know what I mean? Because that's what I basically said to him. I was like, show me, do you know what I mean? This is my career for certainly the next few years. So show me everything there is and I'll learn from day one. So, and I think that was part of the reasoning in his head. I was like, okay, this guy's serious, you know what I mean? I can teach him.
What was the difference then? Just crazy different recipes and ingredients?
Yeah, I mean, well, the good thing is, like, a lot of the techniques are very similar. You're poaching, do you know what I mean? It's the same. And the same for knife skills. I've been slicing for years. It's just obviously a different blade now. It's a big Chinese cleaver, which is good fun. But yeah, a lot of the basics are still the same. So, yeah, and that's why, I mean, probably take from an absolute amateur to master chef would probably take, I don't know, 10, 20 years.
Wow.
And they're looking at me thinking, okay, we can see what you can do here, you can see that. It's going to take us a few years, but other than that, you got the basics already. So I was like, right, okay, cool, that's good.
Mate, that's incredible, isn't it?
When will that process start then? When things start opening up?
It's already
again?
started, so obviously we had to adapt. I was meant to fly out to China and have the big inauguration ceremony, because it's a big deal. We couldn't have that, unfortunately, because of COVID, so we had it kind of on screen. So we had a screen in Luban, and obviously I wasn't allowed to invite many people because, again, COVID restrictions. So I had a lot of chefs, including like my first head chef, and just chefs who've meant something to me throughout my career, and someone who'd done my qualifications with me as well, and my family were there and stuff. And then on their side was like Master Wu with all the people in the college, and it's quite surreal because part of the ceremony is I have to like make him a cup of tea, basically. I know it's not like a normal cup of tea, but Chinese tea is a bit more symbolic.
Yeah.
So I have to make him a pot of tea, and then I have to serve it to him as part of the ceremony. So it was one of them, like holding it up to a screen, and then on their side, like this hand appears and takes this cup of tea. And then later on, he has to pass me like the chef's hat down, and so like I'm standing there like watching him pass the chef's hat down, and then someone passes me the hat on this side, and it was all quite surreal, but it was really cool. But then from there, we've been doing like weekly sessions, so I have to get up quite early in the morning because they're 9 hours ahead of us. So for them, it's at the end of their day, and I'm up at like 8 a.m.
Yeah, you're not getting Master Wu to get up late or...
No, it's too important for that, yeah. Maybe when I'm a bit older, maybe I'm a bit more, yeah. When I've got my qualifications, I can give him, a bit more, but no, for now, it's 8 a.m. and we'll start the process, and I'm also learning Mandarin as well, because I think it's important that I can speak to him. I want to impress him. Next time I get out there, I want to speak to him in his own language. Well, I've not told him. It's a surprise for him. So
how you find it? I did a bit of Mandarin, and it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
Ni hao ma, wo hen hao.
Wo hen hao.
Yeah.
So
what's that mean?
Yeah.
Well, he basically said, "Hi, how are you? I'm good, thanks." And then he said, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Buketi, which means no worries.
There you go.
I don't
mess about in this table, do we?
Everyone says it's the hardest language to learn, but I'm finding it quite easy. I don't know what it is, but I did like French, German, a bit of Spanish when I was younger. And I'm finding it easier than French because there's not a lot of like female, male, do you know what I mean? Where the words would change, whether it was female or male. I was like, what? I never got my head around that really, but...
Mate, I found it so hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
I'm doing alright. I'm doing okay. And I go to the Chinese supermarket every few days, and now I try and speak to them a bit more in Chinese every time I go in. And they just laugh at me most of the time and speak to me back in English. But it's fine. They know I'm trying.
Yeah.
They know I'm trying and they appreciate it. So,
mate, when I only learnt it because this is how naive and stupid it was, is that I was buying and selling stuff from China, so I'd buy stuff from
drop shipping.
Yeah. Well, not drop, but I'd actually buy it less than a container load of stuff, and then everything from like suit bags, suit everything. And I thought, listen, if Wiki gets in there with the Chinese, I'll be able to get dirt chai prices. Anyway, so I tried it. Yeah, fucking, I don't have none of it. That was it. But
yeah,
mate, I found like the difference, like the tone differences as well.
Yeah. There's
really,
consonnations.
Yeah.
There's 4 different ways of saying the same word, and you know what I mean? 4 different completely things.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
So it all has to do with how you accent. So ma, for example, is a good one.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Ma can mean horse, girl, nice, and something else.
Yeah, it's like if you go ma or ma. Yeah,
so if you can imagine ma or ma, ma or ma.
My God,
there are a lot of words of these 4 different. That's the hard bit, I think.
Yeah. People do say English is pretty hard to learn as well. Yeah, like really hard.
Yeah.
So, I think Chinese as well.
Yeah, so the plan is, as I said, 6 months. Well, as soon as I can, I'll be going out every 6 months, going experiencing more and seeing more and learning more. And the plans are to have the chefs coming over from China as well to spend some time with us in the restaurants, teaching the staff, teaching me, and just basically being here, which is amazing to get these Masterchef. We've had, when we first opened, we had a couple of Masterchefs fly over, want to do like dumplings with us and want to do noodles with us, because these are skills that take years normally. And I was like, I've got to open a restaurant in 6 weeks. Show us quick. So yeah, they'll be coming over and that'll be brilliant. We'll do some special nights when they're over as well and tell everyone like that you've got some seriously top chefs.
Well, that's what I mean. I know it's great for you, but it's great for the city. I mean,
well, it's massive. So the project, when COVID finally does one, gets off, will be an academy. We'll be an academy teaching Chinese culinary arts. So that's the first of its kind outside of China, anywhere in the world. And it's in Liverpool, which is boss. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Then you've got this Scouse lad, this knob from Childwall, who's going to become like a master chef of Chinese culinary arts in Liverpool. Again, boss. You know what I mean? And the ties between Liverpool and China have been huge for a long time. And we just think this is going to strengthen it and make it... just stronger. Do you know what I mean? We've got great heritage here, Chinese heritage as well. It needs to be celebrated, same as Irish and Welsh and everything else we've got going on in Liverpool.
Well, Liverpool's great for it. It's just a massive mixing pot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The hot pot, the Chinese hot pot of the world. So,
it's exciting times.
We can talk about COVID if you want,
mate. I was just about to mention that. Go on, I'll let you. I'm sure you could go on for another hour about COVID.
Yeah. So obviously you've got this amazing restaurant, and again, this comes with highs and lows of this industry. I never thought I'd experienced this low before. Was when you've suddenly got the staff around you, and you're like, we're closing the doors, and everyone's just looking at you going, what the fuck? What are we gonna do? Because obviously COVID was happening, places were closing. Boris had been on the TV telling everyone not to go to restaurants, but hadn't put anything in play for restaurants. So.
Oh yeah, I remember that, yeah. So did you stay open until was it March the 23rd?
We closed a good few days before we were told to close, because we were just like, this is untenable, because there's not a lot of people coming in. B, it's not safe for our staff or for anyone around us, because we don't know how to deal with this, you know what I mean? We don't know what's going on out there. So we took the decision to close based on keeping our staff safe and just being like, we don't know what's going to happen, guys, we're really sorry, but we don't know what's going to happen, and we just think it's best if we close the doors. So I've gone from telling everyone over the last few weeks, listen, whatever happens, we're going to be alright, we're going to be okay, I'll make it work, to literally sat around a table, me choking back tears because I didn't know what was going to happen, and it was the staff I was concerned about. So I was like, didn't care about me so much. I was like, I've got a house and my wife's still working, so the worst comes to the worst, I can still eat and survive, do you know what I mean? But these other guys, you're like, these guys in this industry work from week to week on the wages, do you know what I mean? There's never enough money in this job until you get to the very highest levels. You can't save. Everything you earn basically pays all your bills, and then there's a bit of beer money at the end of it, or there's a meal out somewhere, or there's a nice pair of trainers, but that's it. You know what I mean? That's just unfortunately the way that the industry is, until you break into the big salaries, which is really hard to do. There's nothing there, so I was just like, guys, sit down, we have to talk, and I had to say to them all, we're closing the doors and we don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, we decided then amongst us, I was like, right, all the food in the fridges and freezers, we're going to go and donate it somewhere. We're going to go homeless shelters, we're going to go wherever we think this food can get some use out of. So we're off to the Whitechapel, drop some stuff off there. I put messages out on Twitter saying, listen, whoever needs it, I can get it to you. And we went out delivering and we just dropping it all off around the city. Because we knew the fridges and freezers, we're going to switch them off and the food's just going to get wasted, you know what I mean? So we did that on day one, and then with everyone else we just gave them a little care package. We were like, right guys, take some food with you, and we don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to send you away with what we can. Here's some food, here's a few drinks as well, because you know what I mean, it's the least you deserve. We don't know what's going to happen, we'll be in contact as soon as we can when we know what's happening. I suppose some of us amongst us knew the government has to step in and do something, whatever that's going to be. There has to be some kind of relief or support. No one knew what that was going to look like. So we did that, sent the staff on the way, delivered all our food out across the city where we could, off to mainly the homeless shelters and to the paper cup project, who were good. They go out on the streets, and I was just like, I've got food here, we can use it, get it out there. Did that, went home. Probably had half a day, just sat there on my sofa thinking, what the hell's going to go on? And I was like, fuck it, I'm not used to this, do you know what I mean? I'm not used to A, being at home, B, doing nothing. So
for 23 years.
Right, yeah, so, and I saw people were struggling to get stuff. Supermarkets were emptying out, everyone started panic buying. And there was these horrible images of old people getting into the shops and there was nothing there, wasn't there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was speaking to all my suppliers, and they were like, the world's dropped out, what are we going to do? And I thought, right, that's it. I started lids on day 2 of being at home, just created Lids, which is Liverpool Independent Delivered Services, and I got all the suppliers that I knew together, and we're like, we'll just deliver to people's homes, that's what we're going to do. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, you used to deliver to restaurants, now we're going to deliver to people's homes. We're going to tell everyone to come and shop with us because the supermarkets are crap and there's no delivery slots and it's dangerous going out there. And there's nothing in the supermarkets anyway because they weren't ready for it, they weren't prepared. These multi-billion pound companies weren't ready and they couldn't deal with the demand. So we went and did it, and it was mental. It was mental a few weeks until I got organised. It was like literally me on a phone 12 hours a day.
Was orders just flying in?
Every day.
Just speaking to just cutting out the supermarket essentially.
Yeah, with a pencil and paper, writing down these orders, and then phoning the suppliers and going, right, okay, this person wants this, that, this and this. And I was like, they wanted meat, they wanted fish, they wanted veg. I was like, who's delivering this? And the meat man would go, right, I can pick that one up. So I was like, right, everyone get everything to him. And at the start, there was like, I mean, there was nothing in it for me whatsoever other than it was keeping me busy, and I was keeping the business is busy. And then every now and then the meat man would go, yeah, good Dave, and just drop me off a sack of meat, and I'd be like, this is the best thing ever. Free steaks coming around, because I was getting business for them. But for me, it was more about my sanity. I was doing something, because you can't go from 100 miles an hour to nothing. It just like, and for me, I've been like high octane, like 70 hours a week every week for 20 odd years. So to suddenly stop
is insane. Yeah,
I just felt really strange for a day or two. So I was like, right, busy. The wife's hating me now because I'm on the phone like this every few minutes, and she's like, are you going to stop at any point and just sit down? I was like, no, I can't. I've got all these. There's like there's nursing homes, and they've, because of the restrictions brought in by the supermarkets, they're going to only get 2 bog rolls. And I'm like, they've got 40 people to look after at the supermarket, saying you can only have 2 of something. So I was speaking to like nursing homes, and they were going, we're really struggling, what can you do for me? And I was like, I can get you anything you want, because I've got all the suppliers in my phone, do you know what I mean? So there's toilet rolls coming, there's all this meat, fish, canned stuff. And then I finally got organised, and just, someone built me a website so it could process all the orders, and then things got a little bit easier.
That's brilliant though.
We hired drivers, so I was getting, these were chauffeurs with no work, so I was like, come and work for me, I've got all these orders that need to go. We got organised, and it went, at one point, I don't know, there was like 5 full-time members of staff working for us, because we were like,
that's
we needed
insane.
someone to like make sure the orders were like processed them, send them off to all the suppliers. We had someone working social media, we had all the drivers working, and it was me, and I was just like, this is madness. So I got really busy, and then off the back of Lids, I was like, but what about the people that can't afford stuff like this? So got speaking to a girl called Lucy, and we arranged that we built Knowsley Kitchen, which was our like, not a charity, more of a community project. And we were like, so there's all these people sat at home and they haven't got anything, do you know what I mean? And they're really struggling, and now COVID's made it even worse. And we were like, but the food banks are great at what they do, don't get me wrong, they save lives every day, they do an amazing job, but I was like, it's not the answer. I was like, it's just, you're just plastering over this gaping wound that's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I said, and you're not, you're dropping them off food that's like tinned food, you just warm it up and you eat it. And I was like, that again isn't right. So we created a project where we drop off boxes with fresh fruit, vegetables, pulses, healthy food, a loaf of freshly baked bread from home baked there. And the idea was, right, here's fresh ingredients and here's how to cook them. So here's some recipe cards as well, do you know what I mean? And they didn't have to pay anything for it. We'd go looking for the funding, and I was using money that was eventually through the site, it would start turning a small bit of profit on the site. So I'd put that into the into Knowsley Kitchen, and we'd buy boxes, and people would donate boxes, and people like LFC Red Neighbours would give us a bit of funding, and 23 Foundation gave us a little bit of funding. I was just chasing funding, which was really hard to get hold of, by the way. I was like, there's people starving to death, give me money. And they're just like, who are you? And I'm just like, just give me money. And we got it, and at one point we were doing 100 families a week, you know what I mean?
Wow.
With these fresh fruit veg boxes.
You just don't realise that there's that unless you look into it, that there is that much just people. You don't realise there's that many people struggling.
It's insane, and that was the tip of the iceberg. That was like 100 people. That's because that was our limit. That was probably as much as we could do, but that was only Knowsley. And I'm thinking that is just one region. Granted, Knowsley is probably it's the poorest, one of the poorest regions in the entirety of the UK in terms of funding. Knowsley Council, God knows how they survived for this long. To be fair to them, like they just get nothing, absolutely nothing. So the regions, and the council estates and whatever else are really hard affected by. So we did that, and then off the back of that, I created a business called the Well-Fed Box, which is effectively that. But imagine HelloFresh, but for someone who can't afford a HelloFresh. And the idea is that like the council would give me a project and it'd be 50 families for 6 weeks. So we did that as well. So I was getting money from councils and housing, worked with some amazing people in housing associations who've got big hearts, like South Liverpool Homes were brilliant, and they funded loads of these boxes. So I was doing all these boxes. So it was like, here's the spaghetti bolognese box, it's got your mince, it's got your tomatoes, it's got your fresh herbs, it's got your pasta in, it's got a recipe card telling you how to make it. And the idea was, this person would get the box, have fun with the family, making it together as a family, sitting down at the table with something that we've all made together, and they'll know now how to make it next time. So there's the education. It's the whole give a man a fish and he can eat for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. And that was my philosophy. It was like, we can keep giving these parcels out to people, but where are we getting with this? At some point the parcels are going to run out, and then what are we going to do? Do you know what I mean? So I was like, teach them how to cook. Do you know what I mean? Show them that you can get a good meal for relatively cheap. So we did all that as well, and then I just didn't stop. I just went bananas just thinking about it now. My mind is, so it's like we did the half-term week and we thought there's no money coming. Like the government have said we're not extending the vouchers for half term for the kids' school dinners.
I remember that, yeah.
So I was like, not having that, right? Put shout out, I was going, guys, come and help me, support me. I'm going to feed 100 kids for the week, 500 packed lunches we're going to do. We're going to get 100 kids in poor areas and we're going to feed them for the week with packed lunches, nice packed lunch delivered every day for them. And we got 5,000 packed lunches donated. Jesus. And I was just
like, incredible, that, isn't it?
I was like that in floods of tears going, oh my God.
That's what I hate about the government, though, that it's like they know. Well, it's like they don't know, but it's people like you who fucking bail. That will bail them out.
Yeah,
every single time.
Yeah, they know they can fuck you over, and there'll be someone like you who'll go, you know what? I'm not letting this happen. Come on, guys, let's feed these hungry kids.
Yeah, and let's eventually enough backlash, and now they've gone, okay, for the next half term there'll be vouchers there. And I was just like, you just pricks though, do you know what I mean? I don't want to say it. I'm on social media, I watch my language, I'm very careful. It's about image, and I always represent the business I work for, so I never get too shouty. Occasionally I might, and then delete them afterwards. But what I wanted to say obviously was, your word, fuck yourselves, Boris. You mean, you fucking arsehole, you're leaving us all out here to die, basically. You're taking all the funding away. Anyway, Christmas time come, and I thought, I'm going to do it again. We're going to hit all these families that might not be able to have a Christmas dinner, and we created the best Christmas dinner in a box you can imagine. And again, the money just kept coming in from Liverpool, from people. I did it on lids, and I was like, guys, please, you know what I mean, let's give something. I said, forget your rubbish Christmas presents, I think I said Secret Santa. Just swerve Secret Santa, put your money in this. This is somewhere that will go to someone who really appreciates it. And we made 500 families, got a big massive Christmas dinner box with like full turkey trimmings, starter, main, dessert, like the full works, better than my Christmas dinner. Amazing, that. And then the instructions how to cook it as well, and it was just incredible. It was amazing.
I mean, it's no massive secret though that, given your story of being a chef and again the high octane kind of lifestyle, if anyone was going to do something like this during COVID when no one was doing nothing, it probably was going to be you. It was going to be me.
It definitely was. Like I said, my missus was just like, "What are you doing?
Would you just calm down, for God's sake?
The world's come to a stop. I can have you for a little bit at least.
What are you doing?" And again, probably put more pressure on again. But But I was like, this is just inside me. I don't know what it is. This is this beast, this demon inside that needs to be doing something constantly and always, and hopefully for the good, for the good of for the city. I love this city, absolutely adore it. So I was like, I can't work, but I'm going to give something back. So I don't know. It pissed me off that no one else was doing it, or people with more social standing than me or more money than me didn't just go and start doing stuff like this. So I was just like, no one else is going to do it, right? I'll just bloody go and do it. Do you know what I mean? Brought these people around me. I think that's just what I do. I bring good people around me and we just go and do things, good things, whether it's a kitchen team or whether it's lids, the suppliers, or whether it's just... I had volunteers coming from all over the city. We want to deliver boxes. It was just
It's madness, isn't it?
We go, there's 20 to you, off you go. Alpha Taxis done really well by me as well. They came and helped out loads. So yeah, big shout out to Alpha Taxis as well. And then where are we up to next with our stage of life?
Well, mate, I was going to ask, what's next now then?
Well,
So
I've just done Great British Menu. You saw that, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, yeah, again, Great British Menu. That's something I did watch when I was growing up as a chef. It's probably one of the few programmes I watched because I was like, they're the top chefs in the country, and they're doing their dishes that mean something to them. That's why it appealed to me. So I've watched Masterchef occasionally. I find it stressful. I find watching Masterchef stressful because you can be the best chef in the world, but if you don't know how to make that one recipe and they ask you to make it, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
And I feel bad because sometimes a really good chef will be put into an environment where they don't know it, because you can't know everything. It's impossible. There's no chef out there knows everything. Absolutely not. And even like brilliant British chefs, I could say, right, okay, whip this Chinese dish up for me then, and they'd be looking at me and go, and I go, exactly. Yeah. So I feel for the chefs on Masterchef. It stresses me out watching Masterchef. I feel anxious for them. Do you know what I mean? So, and on Great British Menu, I used to watch that though. It was great, good fun. And then, although I'd still feel anxious for them if something went wrong, or they burned something or something happened, I'd be like, oh my God, they drop something, and I feel terrible for them because I know what it'd be like in that situation. And then suddenly it's me in that situation. I got the invite. Laura's Little Bakery put my name forward. Thanks,
I was used, Laura, yeah.
Thanks, Laura. Hopefully she's doing all right now.
I see her at the house fire,
Had a house fire, which was awful. But hopefully she's good and she's a strong character, so I know she's going to come through it fine. Big shout out to Laura.
Yeah, she's done all my cakes. She's my go-to.
She's brilliant, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's done everyone's cake. She's the cake maker to the stars.
Yeah.
She put my name forward, and then they came calling. So what they do is they vet you, basically. They watch you over a period of time. Once they've got your name, do all the digging on you, do the research, and then they must have been like, right, okay, this knob from Childwall will do, get him in. But it came at the worst possible time, because obviously I had all this stuff going on. I had October half term is when we were doing all these packed lunches, and it was the week after, and Liverpool was still open. Everywhere else in the city was closed, wasn't it?
Oh, it was like the tiers.
The tiers.
Was closed, and Liverpool's tier meant that restaurants could still be open. Yeah, so Luban's still open. My head chef, who would normally run the kitchen when I don't need to be there, broke his hand. So I'm like really understaffed at the moment trying to do this. And I've got to go and film, and I literally just had to grab everything and just go, finish service in Luban, and went down there and shot down there. So I get there and the lads are like, oh, how many times have you practiced? This is after, I mean, you don't get to meet anyone until you meet on camera. That's the whole thing. Like, so you do meet on camera, but afterwards you then start speaking to each other, and these guys are like, oh, I've been practicing this for about 50-60 times, and I'm just sitting there going, I've never put these things together on a plate before. I am literally winging this the whole time. But yeah, great experience. I winged it, and I did all right. Do you know what I mean? I'd said to myself, listen, as long as you're not the first one out, you've done okay. Do you know what I mean? And luckily I wasn't the first one out. So you see on like the first episode, everyone's dead nervous. It's all of our first times in that kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's mad as a chef walking into that kitchen, because you recognise it. It looks how you see it on TV, although it's like a TV set. So you go in a door and you just, that's not where I thought that was going to be. This is the door to nowhere. Sound the secrets now, probably shouldn't, but yeah, it's obviously a TV set, but you're going on there and you're seeing like the iconic like sign and the door and this and that, and you just like, you're a bit like, I don't know, taken aback, so it catches you off guard. So you're there and you're stressed, and you fire your dishes out, and you're sitting there going, oh God. And I got through. Anyway, I got through. I wasn't the first one sent home, and I'd said to myself, listen, be happy with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be under no illusions. What you've just come through these last few months, you haven't stopped. You haven't had a day off. And like, I was exhausted on Great British Menu, because I was literally from the restaurant straight into there. And so by the last day comes, I'm like, I am knackered, and I'm a bit emotional, and I'm just shattered. And it was almost a relief when I didn't make it through to the last day, because I was just like, thank God for that. I need to go home and just sit down and lie down, to be honest. It's been like an absolute whirlwind. But brilliant experience. Absolutely loved it. Would love to do it again. I think now I know what it's like when you get there. I think I could do better.
A bit more relaxed.
Yeah. But like I said, everyone who's watched me on it has just been really complimentary and said you came across amazing. You're clearly really passionate about your city and everything else. Because I spent the whole time talking about Liverpool, really. It's meant to be Northwest, and I was just like, nah, fuck Northwest.
I just see my Twitter exploded, mate, and caught up on it, mate, and was like, yeah, I thought the same, mate, yeah. Thought you conducted yourself great, mate. It was great watching you.
I mean, I was just being me. I was being a positive guy. I was just talking to them all, G'ing them up, making sure everyone was all right. I don't know, that must just be in my nature. And having a good time, enjoying myself. I thought, as long as I knew I wasn't going out, I can enjoy myself now. So I did enjoy myself. No, it was really good. And yeah, Scouse Twitter went off for me, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was boss to see.
Had loads of people sharing, retweeting. Great British Menu didn't know what it done. They literally didn't know. Well, no, because like the viewing figures, we just went boom and just spiked for like this.
Madness.
My videos when they released them on Twitter, I was like, who's coming on the show? Everyone was like 4,000 views, like 3,000 views, and then Dave's came on. And it just flew past 35,000 views in like hours, and I was just like, oh my God, it's going off. And they were all just like, obviously I've filmed this months, so like I know what's coming up. I filmed it months, and it was October, it only came out a few weeks ago, didn't it? I was just watching it, my phone was just going off, battery was dying every few hours. It was so nice to see, but I think you reap what you sow a bit. I think
100%, mate.
Yeah.
I put a shift in for Liverpool, and I always will, and it got paid back. Like, everyone was really supportive, and the restaurant since we reopened has just boomed.
Brilliant.
Just been full every day. So I'm exhausted again. I'm just like that. Oh my God.
You having to
There's that feeling now. There's that feeling when you're going, it's another full one, put me white on it, that silence, just putting them on, going another full one. But it's been great. And loads of new faces who were just like, we saw you on Great British Menu. Can we have a photo with you? Can you do
really?
that? I spend half my time having photos now, and I'm just like, I'm just Chef Dave, like, do you know what I mean? It's just... Yeah.
That's, mate, it's the 23 years you've just been working, grinding, mate.
Yeah.
If there's anything from this episode, it's your work ethic is insane, mate.
And the passion, I think. It's like I think Eddie Hearn's got a podcast, hasn't he, called No Passion, No Point. I think that's what I've taken from this, mate. It's, if you want to succeed at something, you've got to
give it everything.
Everything.
You have to, absolutely everything. And this is a tough industry to make anything of. And obviously 20 years ago, Dave back then would never have thought, that's where he wanted to be, with everything going on, and just be, where I'd get to. I don't know, what's next? You're saying, I'd love to do more TV, because I liked it, I enjoyed it, I kind of thrived in front of the cameras. I thought I've done a lot of my own social media over the last 2 years, and I've built up a big following now. It's being in front of cameras. So when the cameras came out and they were like, are you going to be okay in front of the camera? I was like, hello. Now's the time to shine. Yeah. What do you mean? I said, I can't cook, but at least I'm good in front of the camera. Yeah. No, I did alright in the cooking, didn't do too bad.
Have you noticed on your social media from prior COVID it's gone massive then?
Yeah, so for several reasons. You had this captive audience at home that weren't doing anything, and I was just plugging everything I was doing. So lids, all the charity stuff I was just getting as much message out there. This is what we need to do. This is what we're going to go and do now. And then actively like sitting down and researching like Instagram and like how you build a following and the right people to follow and when to post, because I had the time. I was like, okay, well, might as well learn now. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, Instagram went absolutely bananas. And I've just learned when to post, and that's part of the game now, to be honest. The industry's changing massively. You can't just be a chef anymore. You can't just put food on a plate. I spend like very small percentage of my time is now actually physically cooking. Like I said, it's more about directing the team day to day, but social media is huge. I spend hours on social media a day. And it's
video content and things like that.
Yeah, just all about content. Yeah.
I'm creating content now, so I never thought I'd do that. Like a year ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, and now it's like, right, okay, I need content. We need to be showing people behind the scenes. We've got videos coming out, like I said, where it's literally, I want to show you what happens in my brain. Do you know what I mean? And what happens day to day in the chef world. You put your armour on physically, and then you go to war. Like it's you against 100 people, 200 people. It's just, and
that machine.
The dreaded machine. Yeah. And I want people to see that. I want people to be a bit. I want Luban to be really interactive. People can get involved and see behind the scenes and what happens, and all the videos that we do, all these different events we do. I want people to be part of, even if they can't make it, they can watch it and see it and go, I've got to get to the next one. That looks amazing. Look at that. Do you know what I mean? But show them the work that goes in behind the scenes as well. There's all the bar staff making sure there's hundreds of like lime sliced and hundreds of lemon sliced, and it's all perfect, and all your ice is ready, and all the spirits are ready, and all the gums are ready, all your stock syrups and bits and pieces. They've got like, there's so much goes on that you just never see. Madness. You never see when you just go for a drink. Just a cocktail. Do you know what goes into that cocktail? Yeah. But I want people to see that. So like I said, Luban's going to be a training centre once everything goes away, and that's part of what we want to do is show people everything about the industry. And now social media is such a massive part of it. You choose where you go to eat now based on social media.
Oh yeah,
100%. It's huge, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So for me as a business owner, I own part of the business, so I'm one of the directors and the chef. It's my job to get people in as well and show people, right, okay, this is the food we're doing, and it's boss, by the way, you got to try it.
I'll do it, mate, I'm coming, don't worry. But isn't it funny how you have to, like, as a restaurant, you're not only a restaurant, you're a media company, because you've got to produce content. Like, you'd never have thought that,
that's it.
Every company has to become a media company.
Yeah, so I feel sometimes my role now is I'm the executive head chef of the business, which means I'm in control of everything that happens in the kitchen. I'm responsible for it. I'm also the general manager in some ways, because all the managers feed into me. I have to look at the figures, I have to make sure that's happening. Business development manager, because I need people coming in. I'm chasing business all the time, so I'll be doing deals with big groups in the city, apartments that don't have a food offering. That's my input there. It's like that's my way in. It's, guys, you've got an amazing apartment here. I want them to come to us for our meal. So I'm building lots of connections there. Social media, obviously, I get called a social media whore, and I'm like, it just has to be done. You don't get it. Like, it's not true. It's not for me, it's for other people to go, bloody hell, there's Dave again. Well, I'll just go to the restaurant so he shuts up. Or I have to go because I've just seen this food constantly for the last 6 weeks. I'm going to go there.
It works though.
It worked for me. I've been to a few restaurants just because the social media's been strong. I'm looking and going, bloody hell, right, I'm booking it. And sometimes I'm like, bloody wish I'd never bloody gone now. Do you know what I mean? But other times I'm like, no, it was definitely worth it. I'm glad I went.
Yeah.
That's what I made some questions we had, mate. What's your favourite takeaway in the city? That was a big, loads of people wanted to know.
Takeaway. Okay, that's interesting. So takeaway, I've never done a lot of takeaway. I like to go to the gym quite often and keep fit. But Chinese, I used to go to the May all the time, which is on Berry Street. they just do. There's a boss dim sum menu. Ask for the dim sum menu when you go in. I think it's like the Chinese menu. There's always an English menu and then there's a Chinese menu, and you have to ask for the Chinese. If you go to a Chinese restaurant, ask for the Chinese menu. It's well better. And some of the dim sum they're doing there is amazing. So I could sit there and eat dim sum all day long. So Mei probably the top Chinese, not takeaway but restaurant that I'd go to. It's a shame my family aren't really into Chinese food, so
I know, I'll be honest, I'm not massively into Chinese, but I'm definitely going to come down to now.
Because all I say is the difference between the food I saw out in China was nothing like what I saw in the UK. If it just blew my mind, and so I've brought some of that over here. What I wanted in this restaurant was just to blow minds and blow perceptions and just do dishes that no one's ever seen or heard of before. And then I've kind of done a lot of soul searching and now gone, no, Scouse people like what Scouse people like. So there's a fried rice on our new menu. I've never done that before. I never wanted to do that initially. And now I reckon I've got the best fried rice in the city, because I'm like, I can't just put fried rice on. Mine's the best goddamn fried rice there is. So we've got lovely fried rice with loads of vegetables in it, and then I fry a duck egg, and there's a fried duck egg on the top, so when you break into it, it just uses it.
Go now. Book me in now.
It doesn't stop there. And then there's crispy chili oil on, which is just awesome. It just changes your life that on its own. You could eat it spoon by spoon. So I've got crispy chili on the top and then fresh black truffle over the top of that as well. So it's just proper opulence. And then there's ribs on there, because I was like, I'm not doing ribs. I was like, ribs is just like chippy. Do you know what I mean? I wanted people not to think Chinese food is chippy food. It isn't. It just totally isn't. But I understand why people do think that, and I'm not going to stand here on my soapbox and preach to everyone about how they're wrong. Do you know what I mean? Not at all. We've got a culture in Liverpool that is Chinese, English fused together, and a lot of it centres around the chippies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So shumais, again, I can't take them off the menu. Why? I've got to have them on. So ours are just these boss massive shumais with like,
I do love shumai.
They're pretty good, like, and a little tiny bit of our in-house salt and pepper seasoning, Luban spice. It's a bit more complex than a salt and pepper. It's got all kinds of seeds and stuff in it blended in, but it's beautiful. And then there's a little lobster foam over the top, and then there's this crunchy pork pieces as well over the top. So I'm like, again, it's shumai.
Be people listening to this now.
just dribbling, hopefully. But I did a lot of soul searching, because obviously what I saw out in China, I was like, right, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I want to bring that. That's insane, but will people eat it in Liverpool? And the menu has changed a few times, because we were put in these horrible circumstances through COVID. It was like, right, you can only have this amount of many people in. And I had to like make it more accessible, because I was terrified of no one walking through the doors, because it was a scary time to be out eating anyway. And it's like, we were a Chinese restaurant, so everyone had mad feelings about China to begin with.
Anyway, oh yeah, they did, yeah.
Which was wrong, especially for... And it was actually sad, because Liverpool's got a big Chinese culture and a heritage, and there was noise coming mainly from outside Liverpool, but there was voices in Liverpool, China this, China that, and I was like, you fucking idiots, we are China, do you know what I mean? We are Ireland, we're Wales, we are China, so pack it in, do you know what I mean? I think I did an article for the Echo, and it was just like, you can't catch COVID from a spring roll, do you know what I mean? Because Chinatown was deserted. This was at the very beginning.
Spring roll.
No one was going to Chinatown, and I was like, these are some of the best restaurants in Liverpool, and they've been here since day one, do you know what I mean? Well, they've been here for 100 years, let's say, do you know what I mean? And it made me dead sad, because like, I think it was a you at Ben, Terry, the owner there, was just like, no one's coming in, not a single person's been in this day, a whole day, not a single person. And I was just like, this is awful. So I did an article coming out saying, guys, get out there and support. You can't catch COVID from a spring roll, you're not going to catch it from Chinese food. And like, and these guys are Scousers, they haven't been back to China for 20-30 years, so like, do you know what I mean? So it was a really difficult time. So we went from, the original concept was what I saw out in China, this region was like small plates, so it was almost like Chinese tapas, and I thought, this is incredible, Chinese tapas, what? It's gonna fly, this, you know what I mean? So we did it, and like, Liverpool just didn't quite get it, and they were just like, I don't know, the portions are quite small, lad. And I was just like, no, that's a small plate. Have like 4 or 5 small plates, you know what I mean? Don't just have one. Anyway, so we changed, and we went start to main dessert, because it was like, listen, we just need people to come in. So we changed the concept and we did big plates then. Small plates, big plate and a dessert. So you start a main dessert. So people got it. They got the concept. And now what's interesting, there's a lot of people going back to that sharing small plates again. So Friday night, for some reason in Luban, everyone just wants to go small plate sharing, and I'm like totally fine with that because that was the initial concept.
Original, yeah.
But yeah, I did a lot of soul searching, and this menu, I don't know, you will recognise dishes when you see them. It's like, I know what that is, know what that is, know what that is, know what that is, but that sounds boss. And I just said, I'm not gonna
maybe go and do a review there.
Yeah,
Let's go and do the review.
Yeah.
Well,
You there?
yeah. So I decided I'm gonna cook for Liverpool. This is what Liverpool people want, and it's going to be the very best fried rice I've had, or it's going to be the best ribs I've ever had. And that's the feedback we're getting, which is amazing. I do a char siu pork on there as well, and it's our biggest seller on the menu. I cannot keep up. I'm just prepping pork every day. Oh my God. Char siu pork is just flying out, absolutely flying out, and everyone going, this is the best char siu pork I've ever had. And I was like, well, that was my intention. Get the Chinese recipe, do it justice, and make it amazing for the people of Liverpool, because ultimately that's what I do it for. I'm not doing it for me. I'm not eating the food, do you know what I mean? I want people sat in that dining room absolutely buzzing, loving it, having a great time, having an amazing experience, because that's what I get off on. That's where my adrenaline buzz comes. I'll go out at the end of every shift and speak to everyone, and it's the feedback we're getting is insane, like really good. Everyone's properly loving it at the moment, and that fires me up. So that's why I'm awake at 2 a.m. sitting like, what a great day!
Oh mate, we will be there, I promise you.
And at 7 a.m. in the morning I'm going, oh my God, what a great day. I've got to go again now, but yeah, no, it's all good. You need to come down.
We definitely, mate, yeah.
Honestly, mate, it's great, mate, just listening about the life you've had in the game. It's great to hear your success, mate. Again, I think passion, determination is the big kind of takeaways from me, and we'll be there, Luban, soon.
Yeah, get down. Passion's paramount. If anyone's out there thinking about a career in hospitality, just go and do it. Why not? Do you know what I mean? You could be peeling potatoes one day and flying off to China another. So it's
meeting Master Wu.
Meeting Master Wu.
Master Wu.
When he comes down, I'll let you know. He's
I want to meet him.
You drink anyone under the table, I'm telling you. He's a big guy.
Thank you so much for this. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah,
That's been mega. Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much for having me.
Cheers, Paul.